Okay, so the WATIFY campaign. WATIFY campaign is a campaign fully funded by the European Commission, and it's an awareness-raising campaign aimed at stimulating the uptake of advanced and modern technologies by European SMEs and regions. Why does this campaign exist? As has been outlined in the European industrial policy, and not least by President Juncker in his State of the European Union address, European industry is extremely important for the European economy. It accounts for 68% of all EU exports. 32 million people have a job in European industry, but the European industry, as every industry, is undergoing a deep transformation. So with new technologies, new and advanced technologies, new business models, there's really a big need for European industry to stay on track, to remain competitive, especially in comparison to South Asia and the United States. So this is why the WATIFY campaign exists, to make sure that SMEs, who make up a large part of the European industry, remain competitive. How do we want to reach SMEs and regions? As I mentioned before, we want to do this in 3 different ways. We do this in 3 different ways. We boost and facilitate the technological transformation of SMEs. We connect both SMEs and stakeholders, and we inspire SMEs and stakeholders to transform. This translates into 3 distinct activities, so-called awareness events, matchmaking events, and success stories. Awareness events come in many different shapes and forms. One of them you're attending right now, an online training event. We also do Twitter chats. For example, tomorrow we will have one on our Twitter account, but also more traditionally, we come to events, speak about the advantages of technological transformation, and other things. And then we also do matchmaking events, as mentioned before, where we go all over Europe to create platforms where SMEs and regional stakeholders can meet on a certain thematic area. For example, photonics in the wood industry. So we connect on 2 levels. One, stakeholders from all over Europe, but also intra-regionally. Last but not least, success stories. We know very well that we can't just be telling SMEs and regions from Brussels what they are supposed to do, but we look for best practices from companies and regions that have already transformed their business with the help of technology. Please have a look at our website. We have a multitude of success stories already online there to get a better idea of what this is all about. Who do we target with the WATIFY campaign? I mentioned a few times regions and industry, but we also target the social partners that you can see here in the graph right now, in the infographic right now. Who are the social partners? So those are the so-called intermediary organizations who are responsible for creating a good breeding ground for technological transformation for both SMEs and regions. So this could be industry chambers of commerce, industry associations, regional development agencies, technology centers, universities, what have you. So any actor that can really help and provide a good breeding ground for this technological transformation. We focus mostly on, or we have a special focus on more traditional industrial sectors, as we like to say, so manufacturing, mechanical engineering, retail are part of this, also the agri-food industry. We do this because those are sectors that are not most directly associated with advanced technologies, but nevertheless, those sectors are poised to really benefit a lot from adapting to advanced technologies, because it gives you a distinctive edge over competitors in your field. I'm almost done, just a few more words. If you are organizing an event and you'd like to have a European level speaker, someone who speaks about what I mentioned multiple times, technological transformation, but also similar subjects, Industry 4.0, digital transformation, please drop us an email. We're happy to help and send our experts to your event. And also, if you're from a region that has a specific expertise in an advanced technology and you'd like to connect to stakeholders both in your region and from all over Europe, do write us a quick email, and we'll get in contact with you as soon as we can to create an event together. One more thing, we're hosting the European Technology Transformation Week in about a month from now, which coincides with the European Industry Day. In this Technology Transformation Week, we host a multitude of events all over Europe and webinars in more than 10 official EU languages. So keep an eye on our website to get more information on this, also on how to apply to become part of this European Technology Transformation Week. It promises to be very, very interesting and very exciting. Last desperate attempt to drive you to our social media pages. So if you have time, check us out on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and visit our website, where we have a lot of information on what we do, on what we have done, on what we're going to do. So do have a look when you have a minute. All right, this is it from my side. Carlos, can I hand over to you?
Hello. Good morning, everybody.
Great.
Are you hearing me?
Yes, can hear you.
Okay. Can you see in the screen my presentation at this moment?
I will make you a presenter, and then we can see your presentation. Hold on. Now.
Everyone is okay. Everyone, may I start?
Yes, please start.
Okay. Okay. Good morning, everybody. My name is Carlos Gomez. Let me briefly make my own presentation. I'm working here at Brussels, like a director of the Aragon office of the government of here. So I manage the SME Instrument because I had one of the Spanish member of the program committee of the SMEs access to Rex Finance. So I'm used to work with the SMEs instrument from the beginning. So for today, I have my idea is to give you a general overview of the program, in-depth overview of the program. Then later we will try to identify which enterprises could be access to this instrument, and at the end, finally, I will try to give you some tips, some clues, in order to write a good proposal, a successful proposal. As far as it's not the same thing to have a good project than to write a good proposal. So first of all, we identify which is a good project fitted to that call, and then we will try to identify in which way we can write a good proposal. So let's start with the presentation. So the small and medium enterprise instrument is part of the Horizon 2020.
Excuse me?
Yes.
We can't see your presentation right now. You still have to give us access to your screen. If you click on the sharing tab, okay, you can show your screen.
Okay.
Can you see that?
Have you seen my screen?
Still not. So if you go on the sharing tab, there's like a play button. Now we can see it. Okay, sorry, off you go.
Okay, let's go ahead. This is my presentation. Okay, so as I am seeing you, the small and medium enterprise instrument is part of the Horizon 2020 program. So it's the first time in the all framework programs that there are some money especially devoted to enterprises and reserved to the small and medium enterprises. So it's quite important. It's very new and it's very, let's say, innovative tool in order to enhance the successful enterprises. So I don't know why I can advance pages. I don't know why. Okay. So first of all, we should define who should apply to this instrument. So it's quite important to identify what kind of enterprise should apply for that. Are you an innovative, high-flying, small or medium-sized business with European and global ambitions or not? Have you got an idea for an innovation that targets new markets, and could boost the growth of your company? Are you looking for substantial funding to develop and scale up your idea? The small and medium enterprise instrument support high risk, high potential, small and medium sizes enterprises to develop and bring to market new products, services, and business models that could drive economic growth. The whole idea is that Europe needs more radical market creating innovations to improve productivity and international competitiveness and generate new jobs and high standard living. So what kind of business we are looking for? The enterprise should be close to the market. So we are not speaking about research. We are not speaking about technical risk. We are speaking about market risks, commercial risks. The enterprise should be oriented across border, should look for new markets, not only in Europe, in the rest of the in international scale as well. Should be an enterprise who intend to grow quickly, and the idea to develop should be disruptive. This is a good idea, a new one, capable to be scalable. And do you have a prototype in the case if you have a product? If not, for a service, it's not necessary, of course. Once we have defined what kind of enterprise could take benefit of this idea, of this scheme and program, the program itself is defined in 3 phases. That phases covers different concepts and different parts of the development of the project itself. The phase 1 is a concept feasibility assessment. This phase helps you to get a grip on the research and development technical feasibility and commercial potential of the projects. The phase 2 is the demonstration market. The small and medium enterprise will further develop his proposal with the definition of the proper definition of the activities. And the phase 3 is a phase without any grant, without money, but it's only to push or to help giving services to the enterprises in order to improve the way of things. So let's go with the first phase, definition of the first phase, technical feasibility. You should present a proposal of 10 pages, which covers the idea and formulate a solid high potential innovation project with European or global growth oriented strategy. What kind of activities should I include in this part of the proposal? For example, risk assessment, market research, users involvement, analysis of regulatory constraints or standard regimes, intellectual property management, partner search, and so on. So it's your proposal must be based on an initial business plan and outline the specifications of a more elaborate one, which will be the outcome of the project. The phase 1 funding is a lump sum of 50,000 euros, and the project should be last around 6 months. In the second phase, the second phase is the travel from the concept to the market. So phase 2 helps you to develop your business concept further into a market-ready product, service or product, aligned with the company's growth strategy. Activities could, for example, include trials, prototyping, validation, demonstration, and testing in real world conditions, and market replication. If the activity concerns primary technology innovation, or is a very innovative, should be innovative, but if we are speaking about the technology readiness level, we should be around the 6 or 7. As you know, it scale rates from 1 to 9, and we should be around 6 or 7. You can apply to phase 1 or phase 2 in any case. It's not necessary to apply for phase 1 and then to phase 2. You can go through the phase 2 if you are prepared enough, if you think you are prepared enough. But it's quite recommendable to try to start with the phase 1 and try to test if the phase 1 works properly, and then to go into the phase 2. So, and for the phase 3 is the the commercialization phases. Phase 3 helps you to take advantage of the additional EU support. Let's see, services offered by the Commission or the different platforms like Enterprise European Network and so on. This support can take the form of training, links to investors, partnering and networking with other enterprises, small or larger. But this phase don't provide any direct funding, so it's only services provided for the Commission. All along these 3 phases, you will receive as additional service with this name, coaching. Coaching, coaching covers business development, organizational development, cooperation, and financing. In the phase 1, you have, if you are approved in the phase 1, you have a right to have up to 3 coaching days. In the phase 2, do you have up to 12 coaching days. So this the free of charge coaching services is facilitated by the Enterprise Europe Network. This coaching is delivered by one of more qualified, experienced business coaches recruited from a database managed by the European Commission. All coaches meet stringent criteria regarding business experience and coaching skills, so could be very, very useful for you to use that services. So, what's new in this instrument for this work program, actual work program 2018-2020, different from the previous one? So the first main characteristic different is that the selection of the project is perfectly bottom up. So in the previous work program, the Commission defined different lines of work, defined of different subjects, different technologies, different markets, if you want. But in this new edition, the enterprise is completely free of organize their own selection of themes, of subject, of technologies. So it's a bottom-up approach. The submission forms are improved, are more, let's say, simple or more direct, more auto-explicative. Probably is for sure are different to the previous one. The profile of the expert evaluators are quite different. As far we are not look at this moment, the Commission is not looking for technological specialists. They are looking for business specialists, the people who are who used to deal with new enterprises, probably business angels, people who are successful entrepreneurs, and so on. The profile is quite different. And another very, very important new item is that if you are selected in the phase 2, and you have you pass the first assessment, you are invited on one face-to-face interview with a panel of experts. So it is the first time that this instrument allows you to speak with the rest of with evaluators. The idea is to select 2.5 more proposals than the granted ones, so they provide more than double than the proposals that finally will be granted, and they have the opportunity to explain the project itself to some people who are used to listen about that, and they finally ask you some questions, and you can define perfectly which kind of project are you working on. So once we are defined if the instrument is for me or not for me, if you are working in a breakthrough innovation with potential to create entire new markets, if we have a clear ambition to growth on the international level, if we have demonstrated knowledge of your target market and a convincing business plan, we will ahead with the small and medium enterprise instrument. But if not, if my project doesn't fit with that idea, with the spirit of the instrument, don't worry at all. So there are a lot of different instruments in order to help you to reach funds to enhance your project and to improve it, and find it through other funding available at European, national, or regional levels. The national contact points and the Enterprise Europe network will signpost you to the better option to your project. If not, we will try to write a good proposal. So, and I will try to give some clues in order to write a good proposal. First of all, we should aware that we write to convince evaluators to invest in your business. So the people should be very happy in order to be allowed to invest in your enterprise or in your project. So it's the way of thinking that you should write the proposal to be attractive, to be sexy for the investors. So you should define perfectly the technology market knowledge, the commercialization plan and the financial angle. And then the proposal should be split in 3 different aspects: the excellence, the impact, and the implementation. Each one should be perfectly defined and should be tackled with special approach for every one of them. First of all, what does mean impact? Impact. You need demonstrate that your project will generate revenues and create jobs. This is the main idea. We are thinking about benefits. We are thinking about job creation. The impact is the most important part of the proposal. So the important of the impact is double than the rest of the criteria. So from a scale of 10 of 100, impact will be 50, excellence and implementation will be 25 everyone. So impact is the main thing and should be very well defined. What we should work on that: market condition, commercialization plan, European or international. I should say instead of is European and international dimension, and intellectual property. Let's have a look to the intellectual property. Intellectual property is very important, and in many proposals, the people don't give enough importance to the intellectual property. The intellectual property should be studied in both sides: the freedom to operate for your project and the protection of your intellectual rights and in order to protect against future competitors. So first of all, may I launch this product or services, and then in which way I am going to protect it. Impact need demonstrate that your project will generate revenues and create jobs. To explain properly the market conditions and the evolution of the competition. The competition should be very well defined. The competition always exists, and you should demonstrate that you know about that. Who are your competitors? In which way you can be better than they. So the competitors should be well defined, well studied, and you should show in which way you are better than your competitors, in which you can get a share in the market, which is dealt with other competitors. So they will be very interesting to show at least 3 years of projection of sales, turnover and number of job creates, and describe perfectly your commercialization plan. And another key question here could be to define which price will have your product or services. The price is an important, very, very important, if not a very exact, well-defined price, but one good idea or good approach of the final price of this service or product, because the price is a very, very important part of the market. So this is the first part of the proposal, impact, that should be very well defined. Then the excellence of your product is to know about if your product or service or process is disruptive, if it has the potential to change the dynamic of the actual market. So what is different in your idea? Which is the added value of your idea? why it is viable and better than the existing solutions from the excellence, from the use, the capacities, the usability, to describe the new opportunities, demonstrate that you understand the risks, the risk that means to launch a new product or service in the market. So here it is very important to define the existing solutions, which are the not only the first party, the competitors, but now which are the existing solutions, the technical solutions, and in which way you will improve the art of the market. And finally, the implementation. What does mean implementation? Implementation here, you need to convince, to evaluate it that you can make it. You are capable to put in practice the whole thing. Put in practice that you are defining like a market, like a commercial plan, and so on. You should show your technical and commercial competence, the organization of your team, your work plan, and give a realistic time frame of work. So sometimes this is the last part of the proposal. Sometimes the people forget this part and try to give some short ideas, but this part is not the more important, but should be very well defined. Why? What we have in mind, first of all, to show that I have the experience or the capacity to put in practice my project. Then, who will be working on that? The team organization. Different tasks for different people. Or almost, if you are not a very big group, your group is very small, 1, 2 entrepreneurs, should be defined what kind of tasks should be developed during the project time frame. Because even you should define not only the work plan, but the plan B, just in case plan E is not working perfectly. So some kind of contingents in order to avoid problems that could be erased during the developing of the project. So it's quite important, the implementation. Here I will try to comment a couple of things. So I would like to speak about the contracting and subcontracting. It's not the same thing. When we are speaking about contracting, we are writing my proposal that you will contract somebody. Contract does mean things which are not the main part of the project. For example, you contract the catering services, the printing services, and so on. That contract things that are not the project itself. Subcontracting is subcontract, try to get from the third parties some parts of the project important. Project itself. Be aware that there are not any restriction about the percentage of the subcontracting in your proposal. But have in mind that you should demonstrate your technical and commercial competence. So it's not possible to subcontract the main tasks that should be developed in your proposal, in your project itself. So you should demonstrate that if you are subcontracting, that subcontracting is not the main part of the project itself. It's I don't know if I be clear enough, but subcontracting should be carefully dealt. As far as subcontracting, is allowed, but don't be the main part of the proposal itself. So I think it's clear enough, to go ahead. What about the face-to-face interviews? In which way will be down the interviews? So it's only for the phase 2, as the phase 1 is only assessed through the electronic way, for the evaluators, but the phase 2 will go through a second evaluation consisting in face-to-face interviews. In which way will be down the interviews? The interviews will be in English, of course, and last 30 minutes. You have 30 minutes in order to demonstrate your very good idea. The first part of the presentation will be a pitch perfect 10 minutes presentation, and then you will have 20 minutes in order to solve questions and answers and go in depth about the questions of the evaluators. There's an important restriction in this face-to-face interviews. Only staff legally employed can attend to the interviews. So this statement put out of the possibility to subcontract the defense of your project by a consultancy company. So this is a question quite complicated, but the own entrepreneur, the own innovator, the CEO of the company, or somebody very close related with him or her, is allowed to make that presentation. So I think next in the next month will be implemented. Moment the interviews haven't worked till, but we'll try to see. So at just finishing this time, I want to stress that there are quite important things. Take time to think about your title, the title and the abstract of your proposal. This is the first presentation of your proposal. This is the first view. The evaluators should be catched by your idea, and your idea should be very well defined in a few words. The abstract and the title should be attractive as well. The language should be very simple, very accurate but simple. Don't complicate too much. As far as the evaluators don't want to be complicated in the assessment of the proposal. Put things easy to the evaluators. And other important things is when you select the keywords that define your proposal, you are selecting your evaluators. It's the same thing. The evaluators are selected by the Commission through the keywords. As far as you define a good keywords, you are defining who are you interested in that the persons who are evaluating your proposal. So I think it's a good. At this moment, I don't know if I can give you more ideas. So it is the end of my presentation. Good luck, everyone, for in your proposal. If you are interested, we can discuss some questions coming from you, from the audience. Okay.
Hi, well, yeah, thank you, Carlos, for your presentation, and thank you, everyone, again, for attending. We do have a couple of questions in the questions section, if you will have a look at that. And Carlos, do you see that?
Sorry, in which part of the presentation?
In the tabs of the GoToWebinar system, there's a question section, and in that there are a few questions from Milton Munoz. I apologize for not pronouncing your name right, and Raul Suarez. So can you see that? Carlos?
Yes.
Did you find the questions?
I didn't find. Okay, question here. Okay. This is the questions. Yes. Should the business already have pre-sales to apply for phase 1?
Hold on, I will put the questions into the chat so that everyone knows the question, and then you can maybe give your insight. Okay?
Yes. For the first question, it's not necessary to have pre-sales. It's not necessary to apply for phase 1. The phase 1 is only the whole idea, the skeleton of your project. The skeleton should be complete, but it's only the skeleton. Should be better defined in the future in the phase 2 if the phase 1 is approved. Okay. The topic you can select the topic. You can choose the topic in a free way. It's completely free. But probably negative impacts on climate and the environment should be avoided. The rest of the things, the rest of the topics can be selected or chosen by the people. In the restriction of the 10 page for phase 1, no, it's not possible. The evaluators only read 10 pages. The rest could be avoided by the evaluators. But important, let's say, tick if you want. You can put in your proposal links in order to click to the link and go to a place who are capable to show a video or a scheme or something like that. The evaluator is not compulsed to check the link, but usually the evaluators check the links and have additional information in the phase 1. Okay?
Great, and there was one question in Spanish, so I don't understand it, to be honest. I assume you do.
But I don't see it. Another question.
In the question section, if you click the show answered questions, because I replied to it, that we will answer during the Q&A.
Let me. Okay. Morning. Thank you very much for. I have 5 years representation.
For everyone else, if you still have questions, please let us know in the chat or through the question section.
I think this question is a technical problem.
Okay.
In which way? I think the question of Raul Suarez is to explain how should be presented the proposal. The proposal is presented in a telematic way. You should go to the Commission webpage, and everything should perfectly explain in order to how to send the proposal itself. Is not a real problem. So if you are not sure in which way it should be done, you can get help coming from the national contact points or the European Enterprise Network. No problem about that, because that people are ready to help you in order to send the proposal, even in order to assess you in which way should be improved that proposal, so to have better opportunities. Huh?
We have a new question that came in.
Restriction start. No, there are not restrictions about the where you are starting your business. You can start your business in every country. It's not a problem for that. So this is a global. It's for all European citizens. It's not a problem. But of course, you have in mind that, just in case, I know if the question is thinking about that, but have in mind that the general objective of this program is to grow Europe, to grow GDP, and to create jobs. If you are thinking in invest, you should think invest here at Europe, not outside. So it's quite evident. So
Okay.
yeah, when you achieve the phase one, if you are success in the phase one, you can apply for the phase two, no problem. It could be in the next cut. So you don't need time enough. So, but the as far as the two phases are independent, so it's not necessary to present the phase one in order to present to phase two. So you can go through to the phase two if you want, no problem. So for that, if you are working in a phase that one, doesn't matter. You are working in a phase two as well. Do you need to be an EU citizen to apply? Of course, yes. Do you need to be a European citizen, or a European EU citizen, or a citizen of our country with agreements with the European Union?
Okay, thank you. Any more questions? Oh, there we go.
Yes, Milton. Um, is honestly, I'm not so sure about your questions but it's a legal question. I'm not so sure I'm not so aware of the legal questions. But if you are if you can you can take advantage of the rest of the programs in the UA. You can go through the instrument, your SME instrument. I don't know if you are a resident, but you have the rights of the rest of the people. It's not mine. Okay.
Okay.
I'm very sorry, but I'm not very sure of a good answer to that question.
Any more questions, everyone? Just to let you know as well, you will receive an email tomorrow with a short evaluation, and also with a contact email in case you have any questions that you that come up later. So if you don't have a question right now, but later today or in the next days you think, oh, I actually wanted to ask about this but didn't, just write me an email and we'll make sure that we get back to you.
Okay. Okay.
Great. So if, again, if you have a question now, please let us know. And I would say otherwise, oh, there will be. Yes, the webinar is being recorded and will be uploaded at a later time to WATIFY's YouTube channel. So that was a question for me, I think, this time.
Okay. Okay.
So you can rewatch it then.
Okay, if there are no more questions. Thank you very much for your attention. I I want to be helpful for you in the next future. If you have any questions additional, I will glad to give you my advice and my point of view about that. So thank you very much for your attention and good luck in your proposals.
Thank you everyone for coming, and well, from my side, thank you from the WATIFY team, and hope to see you in a future webinar. And thank you, Carlos, for presenting and answering all the questions afterwards. Yeah, have a great remaining Wednesday, everyone, and yeah, hope to see you in the future. Bye bye.
Okay, bye.